Good morning, friends, and welcome back to my kitchen. Today, I've got a ton of lard that I need to go ahead and render down. So come along with me while I show you how to make some rendered down lard. All right, friends, so for rendering down your pork fat, you need to first have some pork. So this is pork that we raised here on the homestead, as well as we do a lot of briskets. So I kept all the fat of the briskets and we're gonna be rendering that down as well. First, let's start cutting up our pork. And you want to put these into small pieces, or at least uniform pieces. I've tried it with putting it through the meat grinder of my KitchenAid, and I really didn't like it. I felt like it burnt the lard that way. So I'm gonna go with the first way I did it. That turned out really good. And this is my Pit Boss Pro Series knife, and this thing is awesome. I love cutting with this, and I actually have it down in our description in the channel. So if you'd like to get this knife, just go ahead and head over there, and it's on our Amazon account. All right, so once you have a nice little handful of lard, go ahead and go to your stainless steel pot. That's what I'm going to be using, and you want to turn it on medium-low, about like that. You do not want to do fast because this will burn real quick. So you want to go slow and low. It's going to take you quite a while. Make sure there is no water in here because the whole part of rendering out your fat, you're rendering this down to a liquid and you're taking all the water out of it because that's how you preserve your lard. If you have any water in your lard, it will go rancid real fast. So we are cooking out all of the water. And yes, there are little chunks of meat in here. These will turn into chicharrones, or some crispy little delicious goodness, and it will come to the top. You'll see once this renders down, you'll see what I'm talking about. And that we just skim off. All right, so I'm gonna let this go ahead and cook down and we'll continue cutting up our meat. All right, friends, so I've got all that lard in here right now. And you just want to come through and stir it and just keep it on that low heat. And it's going to go for a couple hours like this. Do not put a lid on. Do not add water. Just let this go and render down. And this way you'll have clean, beautiful fat lard to use in your cooking. All that lard down there. Delicious goodness. All right, friends, so here are all my brisket fat. Every time we do a brisket, you trim quite a bit of the fat off, and I just go ahead and stick it in bags and put it in the freezer. So we are going to render this down for the first time and see what we think about the difference between pork fat and this is called tallow, which is beef fat when you render it down. And I'm also going to give this a try for the first time. This is my cast iron pot. I'm going to try rendering it down in here and see what the difference is between the two pots. I always do the stainless steel because this is what I have. Just recently got that. All right, same with my pork fat. I am just going to go ahead and cut our beef fat into chunks and get it going in our pot. All right, so I got my first little batch here. We're going to go ahead and get this on a low heat. I'm going to give this a little bit of time to come up to heat. Your cast iron takes a little bit longer to warm up, but once it warms up, all this stays nice and hot, which is good. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start layering this in there. All right, friends, you can see how much this is already rendered down. This is our pork, and you just keep going. You see these little browner bits? All of this is going to be brown like that once it's done. So we're just going to keep going. And again, keep it low and make sure you come in and you do a little stir every now and then so that nothing gets stuck to the bottom and burns. All that is lard. Now over here, I had way more brisket fat than I thought I did. So this is going to take a little while longer to render down. But you can see down there the lard that is starting to come off. And again, you just come through and stir this up every so often and it will all break down. All right, friends, so this is looking really good. I'm going to go ahead and remove most of these and let the water continue to go out of our lard. So these are like little cracklings. Absolutely delicious, but it is all fat, so don't be eating a whole bunch of these. I'm going to let these sit here and drain off some more of that fat onto my plate. But then, look at here. we've got some amazing lard. And you see all the small little bits on the bottom. We are going to strain this again with a very fine mesh strainer as well as some cheesecloth. All right, friends, so I've got my fine mesh strainer, and then I have some cloth that I'm putting over it. And I'm gonna carefully start pouring our lard into here and let it strain through. And this is gonna collect all the small little bits and pieces that you can't get with just a strainer. And see all that nastiness? You don't want that in your lard. So this is perfect. And now you got this beautiful lard down here, and it's dark right now, but it does dry white. All right, friends, so now we're gonna go ahead and get our jars ready. You wanna make sure you have clean mason jars. Hot, you want your jars to be really warm because you're going to be putting hot lard into these. You don't want to cause them to break. All right, next you need to make sure that these are completely dry. You do not want to put your lard that you worked so hard on getting all the water out. You don't want to add water to it and potentially cause it to spoil. And then go ahead and place your jars on another towel because these countertops are cold. You don't want to be putting hot things on cold things. It will cause it to go into like a shock, and that also can cause your jars to break. All right, now very carefully, go ahead and pour your hot lard into your jars. And you're probably wondering, have I ever had any of these break? Yes, I have. Make sure you wash your lids and your rings as well, and go ahead and put them on top of your jars. We are not going to be canning these. You don't need to because we took all of the water out of here. These will actually seal most likely by themselves because of the heat. But as long as you leave these closed, your lard will be perfectly fine. All right, and there we go. That is our pork. So I will definitely make sure to put on here pork lard. All right, friends, so now our beef is all done. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove a lot of this beef fat that has rendered down. Did not realize how much beef fat I had in the freezer. I'm telling you, we go through a lot of brisket. We do at least a brisket at least once a month, if not twice a month. And there's a lot of fat that you end up taking off of those briskets. Just keep it, and you can do what I did and render it down to some delicious lard. And then all these are not gonna go to waste either. We will eat some of them, and the rest I will give to the dogs a little bit here and there as treats. Just gonna let these sit 24 to 48 hours before they completely turn back into a solid. And then here we've got our 5 beef tallows and our 4 pork lard. And you can tell that these ones have already sealed. So no need to can them. Just make sure you put in nice hot lard and it will seal itself. And these are pantry stable. All right, friends, you can see that it's already starting to change colors. As it cools, it changes. All right, friends, and there you have it. Our lard is all rendered down. As you can see, it's starting to change colors. After about 48 hours, this will be a solid and it will be white. You can leave this in your pantry. It's pantry stable. You don't have to worry about nothing because we got all of that water out of this lard. And you can go ahead and use it as you use any kind of oil in your cooking. So friends, I hope you enjoyed this video of us making some lard. Until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends and family. As always, I hope all is well and have a blessed day.